If you're into history, the great outdoors, or exercising all at the same time, this video is for you.
Well, maybe not so much the exercising part, but it's still a pretty cool video.
Visited San Antonio, Texas.
Yeehaw!
Where we stayed at Hidden Valley RV Park. If you go, be sure and say hey to Terry for us.
Hey, Terry.
We stayed at the bottom of the hill. Our campsite was fantastic.
Yeah, it was nice down there.
We really enjoyed our time there. We mainly went to San Antonio, Texas because although Danny's been years ago to see the Alamo and Riverwalk. And those were our two goals for going this time. I had never been, and I wanted to see it.
Yes, I really wanted Dina to experience the Alamo, and also we wanted to go to Riverwalk as well. But something we learned while we were there, and actually one of our neighbor RVers next to us was telling us about it, and this, I think, really made our trip truly worth it. Now, don't get me wrong, the Alamo is awesome, right?
Awesome.
But the Alamo is just a small picture in a I guess a bigger picture, small piece of a bigger picture.
Right.
And it's something called the Missions Trail. And this was really, really pretty cool. That right off the bat, we got talking about this and looking it up. We both learned something right off the bat, right? I always thought a mission was basically a church. Right? A church that's set up somewhere. You have missionaries and they basically try to, you know, convert usually, you know, indigenous people, native peoples to, you know, Catholicism or Christianity.
Right.
That was always my impression of a mission. Now maybe that's true in other parts, but here locally in the San Antonio area, a mission is really, it's a small community, right? So it's
like a tight-knit
community. And what it really is, it's in this particular case, these missions were built in the 17th and 18th century by the Spanish colonial government, and they were used to convert indigenous people, you know, basically Native Americans, into Catholicism and Christianity. But these missions, they were made up. They usually had a like an adobe wall around them. It was, they've had, you know, usually like housing, courtyards. Of course, a church in the center. They're made up, you know, missionaries and of course the indigenous people. So it's really a community, and they fought as a community. They fought off, you know, people, you know, trying to attack them. They, in part of the mission or part of the missionaries' mission, they would teach the, you know, the native people how to maybe raise cattle, how to construct, how to do construction, how to farm, and all other kinds of skills, really to kind of get them to become more part of the Spanish people, right? Of course, Christianity is a major part of this. They wanted them to fit in with the Spanish people as well. So that's kind of the purpose of these missions in the San Antonio area. But the neatest thing with all this is there's the trail. It's called the Missions Trail, and there's 5 missions along this trail, and it goes right along the San Antonio River.
It's approximately 10 miles?
It's about 10 miles long. You can hike it, you can walk it, you can bike it. We actually rode our bikes on parts of it, hence the exercise part of this video. Which was really, really cool. It was a
great bike ride.
It really, really was. So we want to talk a little bit about the Missions Trail and each one of the missions that we got to see. Now, this isn't going to be a religious video. The history part of it, I thought was the coolest piece of it. It's actually, it's living history. Some of these missions were built in the 1700s, and they're still conducting services today. You can still walk inside of some of these.
So cool.
Some of these still have the original hand-drawn painting on the walls. So that's what we kind of want to go through some of that.
A lot of them have really faded, but you can still see faces, remnants.
But it's really, really cool. And of course, to top it all off, at the end of the trail is the Alamo. And we'll talk about it at the end. But let's talk about the very first mission. We're going to start from the southern end of the trail and work our way towards the Alamo.
The first mission that we went to was Mission Espada. This mission was founded in 1690. We originally had driven our truck there because we had rodeo with us. And then once we got a feel of how the other missions were going to be, and they're roughly 2.5 miles apart, we wanted to bring our bikes back. So the next day, I believe it was the next day, we went back on our bikes and did the whole bike trail.
Yeah, it was after seeing the first one, we knew we were really going to enjoy these, so we decided to take our bikes and go back. But
Mission Espada was the first mission founded in province of Texas.
Yeah, in 1690. And it was actually on the eastern part of Texas, and they basically moved it over to just where its present location is now in 1731. So these missions are old, but they're really, really cool. We went in there. It has a huge courtyard. It still has a church, a really cool bell tower in it. This actually, we had to, I won't say leave a little early, but they were getting ready to have services that night. So you can actually have services in a church that was built in 1690. So that's really, really cool. If that's not your thing, it's just to walk around. It's a huge courtyard. A lot of the outcropping buildings, the foundations are left. There's not much of it, but there's a lot of remnants of them. So you can kind of get a really good feeling of how people lived back in the day. So Mission Espada, it was our first one we went to, and it really kind of got us excited, I think, right? To see the rest of them. So,
and the Indians, the outside wall, the
that's where the Indians or indigenous people, they actually lived on the perimeter. So their housing or quarters were kind of made up the perimeter wall. So Mission Espada was the first one we saw. It's the southern end of the trail. It's the southern end of all the missions. Really, really cool, and we really, really enjoyed it.
Will you meet me in the morning when the sun is blooming? All your worries get gone. Yesterday is now exchange. Everything's alright, it's okay.
The next mission we went to was San Juan. Now this is the only mission that we were unfortunately unable to get into. We were able to walk through the really big, cool wooden gate.
That was pretty cool.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was neat. It was basically it's a wooden entrance, like you think going into a fort. They actually had a gatekeeper room right next to it, so you can see all that, and that was all pretty cool.
And we think there was a like a father's residence or pastor's residence right there.
So we think it's still in use today,
it looked like
as far as providing services. We don't know for sure though, because we couldn't get in. But this mission is the only mission of the five we're going to talk about that really wasn't successful. And part of the problem was the Spanish government didn't really allocate enough land for the mission. So what happened was, of course, you had everybody living in there, but there wasn't enough really room for farming or cattle and things like that. The land they really, really needed to thrive. They also got hammered by Apache raids all the time. So they're getting hammered by Apache Indians raiding the mission as well. So for whatever reason, or I should say, those are some of the reasons why this mission just didn't quite make it or was as successful as the other ones. Still pretty cool. Still definitely worth stopping in, walking the grounds. Now we did run into a pretty cool ranger there as well.
It's another layer to these missions. I mean,
I could sit here and listen to this all day. It's actually very interesting.
I mean,
he was into it, right? He taught us so much about the missions, and he really inspired us to go on to see the other missions as well. So really, really cool. I do wish we could have got inside to see it. Even so, walking the grounds is pretty cool.
You're growing through the sidewalk, blowing in the breeze, burning like a wildfire, cold enough to freeze. Waking up the sunrise, or kicking up the dust. You were made to shine forever, I won't let you rust.
The next mission we visited was Mission San Jose. Now, if you only have time to see the Alamo, which although everybody wants to see the Alamo, and maybe one additional mission, this one is located right next to the visitor center. We're inside the visitor center now, and we're going to check out the museum.
Because we're visitors.
So we would highly recommend seeing this one.
This is pretty cool. The visitor
center was really cool.
It really was. This is actually part of the National Park Service, part of the Heritage Trail, I believe is what it's called. But the visitor center is pretty cool just because they have some original artifacts in there. So that's well worth it right there. And once you just walk outside the visitor center, you have Mission San Jose. Now this is actually a pretty cool mission, right? We were able to get inside of this one. The grounds are huge. There's actually a lot to walk around.
There's a lot.
A lot of the buildings have been, reconstructed. So you can kind of see how people lived back in the day.
So San Jose is just like a mile or two up the road here. When they did a lot of work restoring the missions back in the 30s through the Work Progress Administration, the WPA, they actually fully restored all the walls of San Jose. They're 12 feet tall, full stone walls. It's Queen of the Missions. It's the biggest church.
Wow.
It's got a grist mill. There's a lot to get into. That's where our visitor center is. There's a museum.
Yeah.
Now, something that's actually interesting about this mission.
I don't think I remember to mention this one started in 1720.
Yeah, this one's not as old as some of the other ones. But one of the reasons they actually made this one or created this one is some of the indigenous people in the area, they did not want to live with the other people staying at, I'm going to try to say this, Mission San Antonio de la Vero.
Also known as the Alamo.
Hey, that's a gas station now, Vero, isn't it? I didn't know they named these missions after gas stations.
Oh boy.
That's Valero, right?
I think so, honey.
So even back in the early 1700s, there was a little bit of, our tribe's better than your tribe, or we don't want to live with you guys. It's just kind of interesting to find out some of this stuff.
Right.
So, like Dina was saying, if you're limited on time, the Alamo, of course, that's definitely number one. But this one, Mission San Jose, just because it's pretty cool, there's a lot to see. They reconstructed a bunch of it. So there's a lot there. You can really get a lot out of it, and it was definitely
there were
worth the stop.
services there for many years.
Yeah, they had. This was again founded in 1720, I believe. They had services all the way up to the early 1800s. They stopped for a while. I think the buildings were kind of getting dilapidated. They fixed them up. They had services again in the mid 1800s, and I think a big storm came through and wiped out part of the roof and stuff. So they had to stop services. But there's services there now.
So obviously they're still constructing.
Obviously. So
they do
definitely
have service again.
Definitely worth the stop. It was actually pretty cool.
Definitely.
I got a heart that burns, baby. I got a tree that yields fruit. I got a clock that keeps on ticking. I got a ship that sails true.
I got a song that I've been singing. I got a mind that fights fair. I got arrows I've been slinging. I'm a game of truth or dare.
The next mission we visited was Mission Concepcion.
Concepcion.
Yes. This mission was founded in 1731. It was moved from East Texas. And this mission also, it took 20 years to build the Twin Towers, or the bell towers, I guess, and
the dome, right?
The dome for over the church.
That's pretty cool too.
Yes, very cool.
Now, what I think, this is honestly probably one of my favorite missions. I'll tell you why in a second. But this mission is the only completely intact mission from the colonial period. So that's pretty cool. It's also the oldest stone, unrestored stone church in the United States.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
And they still have services today.
They still have services.
Now, what I liked about this, there's a lot to see on the grounds.
Yeah.
The main church, the main room is, of course, all up to date. It's been painted and everything. But there's some exterior rooms or surrounding rooms. It looks like they were either never updated, or they're trying to get them back to the original way they were a couple hundred years ago.
Yeah.
But the coolest thing for me was there's still hand-drawn paintings on the walls.
So this is pretty amazing. We're in part of Mission Concepcion, and right behind us you can see this is still some of the original, I guess, artwork or paint is still left on the wall. They're trying to preserve it, but it's pretty neat. You can see, you kind of get an idea what these rooms used to look like.
It's amazing.
Awesome. Now, they're definitely faded.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell they were hand painted.
Some of them you definitely have to look for.
Yeah, you have to look for them. But this is really pretty cool,
but some
right?
of them, you just look and they're right there.
This is something that's over 250 years old, and you can still see what people drew on the walls in more than one room. I think there was 2 or 3 different rooms that had these paintings on. So to me, that's what I really enjoyed. That's true life RVing right there.
A fly in the RV, great. See what we get to enjoy?
We got photobombed.
we sure did.
Anyways, Mission Concepcion, I really enjoyed it. I think it was one of my favorites just because of the original hand-drawn paintings on the wall. It was actually pretty cool.
Very cool.
It must have been short back then. Original paintings and original artwork are just unbelievable. It's really impressive that it made it this way or this long. But hopefully you can see up here behind me some of the original artwork.
If you find videos like this entertaining or even helpful, please subscribe to our channel. Please make sure you hit the like button. And somewhere down there's a little red bell thingy. Please make sure you click on that too so you can get notified when our next videos come out.
Red bell thingy. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. The next mission that we attended was the San Antonio de Valero.
Bet you never heard of that one.
Also known as the Alamo. This was started for the Spanish missionaries, and over time it was later turned into this a fortress for the Spanish soldiers, who named it the Alamo.
So that's kind of cool. I never heard or never realized it was originally named after that gas station, Valero. But whoever would have thought that. But of course, everybody's heard of the Alamo. And basically what happened was around the early 1800s, a lot of Americans started settling around the area. And of course, you know, I believe it was 1836. What happened was Texas was trying to, I guess, free itself or declare its independence from Mexico. And again, 1836, it's March 6, 1836, the Battle of the Alamo.
Right.
So that's the importance of this mission.
Right.
You know, a lot of people died, both sides.
Right.
So it's historically a very important place. But this, again, this was the whole reason for us to go to San Antonio, right? And it was definitely worth it, right?
Definitely worth it.
There's so much history. The Alamo only covered like 3 acres, and it was actually surrounded by about between a 9 and 12 foot, like an adobe wall type thing. So, you know, they had a hospital in there, they had corrals, they had, you know, barracks, quarters for everybody. It was actually pretty interesting. And there's a lot of stuff there to walk around. They kind of redid and built up the courtyard area again. So there's definitely a lot of history. You can see where some of the battle scars, are still there as well. So
they have a little bit of reenactments too every now and then. I don't know if that goes on all year round or just certain times during the year. But they did have a little reenactment there.
The one thing that I did like about this too was they kind of tell you, when you go in, they want you to remove your hat. It's kind of a somber place. You know, people gave their lives up, so it was pretty cool as well.
But is there a part that I could hold to if I get lost along the way? I believe
gonna go eat. We're gonna go to Riverwalk and eat.
Let's go.
Now, once you get done with the Alamo, you can head straight across the street to Riverwalk,
Yes.
right? That was pretty cool.
Yes.
If you never heard of Riverwalk, it's downtown San Antonio. Again, where we went, there's a lot of different places, and it's pretty big, but we went right across from the Alamo. You go through the lobby of the building, I think, and there's like a little river right through the town. They have little boats that, you know, tourists get on and
Yeah.
cruise up and down. There's restaurants in there. There's a lot of
Restaurants,
restaurants in there,
shops.
shops. So it's really pretty cool
Yeah.
just to walk. We actually had lunch there. We were able to get out of the sun for a little while and just enjoy a nice lunch, walk around Riverwalk.
Really
and
nice.
And that was kind of how we finished up the day,
Yep.
right? So that was pretty cool. So the Missions Trail in San Antonio, let's see if we can get all Espada,
Espada,
San
Juan,
Juan, San Jose, Concepcion, and the Alamo. Pretty cool.
Very cool.
Definitely worth the stop. Right.
If you've ever been or you plan on going, please let us know what you find most interesting. We really hope that you enjoy it as much as we did. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope that you guys have a great week and stay safe.
Remember, always live life to the fullest.
Safe travels and God bless.